Hey there, it's Lenny McGill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in the beautiful Nashville studios today, and I want to talk about some new optics that just came out. I saw these at the SHOT Show, and they were cool. And I thought, wow, okay, finally, Trijicon is kind of learning from other people, because the one I first saw was the RMR HD. Now, RMR. A lot of people, think, well, what does RMR stand for? Well, it stands for ruggedized miniature, and the last word I thought would be reticle, but it's actually reflex, because it's a reflex sight. So RMR, ruggedized miniature reflex. Okay, so what they did with this one is they actually went to the circle dot, which I personally like a lot. Remember, Holosun kind of introduced the circle dot. They were the first guys. And then now Trijicon introduced this new RMR HD. It's cool. And, Trijicon, you really can't go wrong. Now, these are expensive, but they're really good because they are bulletproof. I mean, that's the one thing that, Trijicon is known for, is that they are rugged, hence the name RMR, rugged. It is rugged. And they're known to not only, hold zero and all that other stuff, but just to protect the glass and to just be so sound that they don't, they're really combat ready. In fact, this is the one that, the military buys because of that. Okay, so that's the new RMR HD from Trijicon. Now, again, great optic, a little thick on the base. Still, it's going to be hard to co-witness. So I do have one of our slides, and we do slide cuts for optics. And that's what this is kind of all about, because we're introducing these new optics into our 10-day optics program. So we have a 10-day optics program where you send your slide in and we mill it for the optic you choose, and we install the optic and we send it back to you in 10 days or less. This one, Glock 19, Gen 3, we milled the slide, as you can see. We've already blacked it out with a cold bluing process, so it kind of prevents rust, right? Because once we cut down, we're exposing metal, so we've already done the cold blue. It's ready to ship back to the customer. This one has the combat cut. Combat cut is where we actually push the footprint back, which allows us to put it a little bit deeper, okay? And then we put the dovetail in front of the optic, and also, of course, the front sight. Now, these are quote unquote optic ready or suppressor sights. All right, they stand a little taller. And you're going to notice that even though they stand pretty tall, you barely get a co-witness with this. You get about a 1/8, or maybe, maybe 1/8 is what the word is, okay? Now, the challenge with this one in particular is not going to work with the combat cut, because see what's happening on that front sight, on that rear sight, how it's interacting with that? So that was one of the things I wanted to show you. If I had the standard dovetail, this is going to sit out here like that. The HD uses the same RMR footprint as all the other traditional RMR. So if you have an older sight and you want to upgrade to the HD, you can use the same RMR footprint. But the combat cut will not work because of the way that sight is designed. You can see how it sticks out. The same kind of concept as the SRO as well, but they all have that same RMR footprint. So this one's cool. Again, like I said, it's got all this traditional, Trijicon buttons on the either side for the intensity of the actual optic itself. The battery is available through the top. You don't have to take the thing off. That's actually very nice. These are, 3.25 MOA, which is basically at 100 yards. The MOA is minute of angle. At 100 yards, the dot is 3 inches. All right, so, and divide that in half at 50 yards, and come back and all that. So that's how the MOA concept works. So it's a good size for just general overall shooting. Not too small and not too large. So the 3.25, the 3.0, those are kind of the most, I say, popular MOA dot sizes. All right, so that's the new HD. We sell every one we get. And so does everybody else. They just kind of come and go pretty fast because Trijicon's popular. Now, the next one they came out with is the RCR, okay? Now, this one's pretty cool. What they did here, RCR stands for ruggedized, and it's the closed reflex. So RCR, ruggedized, closed or enclosed reflex. And what they've done is they've actually boxed it because this has become very, very popular as well. Of course, Holosun introduced the enclosed optic with their SCS carry and the EPS series. It's very popular because for concealed carry especially, and even combat use and everything else, that if anything gets in the way of the little tiny laser reticle here that actually shines up on the glass, anything gets in the way of that, whether it be a drop of water, whether it be a little bit of lint, whether it be some dirt, just dust and time over the course of time, anything gets in the way of that, it will not be projecting onto the glass. The other thing that I notice when I carry an optic is that the inside of this glass, you know, if the gun's sitting here like this in your pants, basically, even on an outside holster, it collects dust. So you have to get in there to clean it, and it kind of gets a little tedious for the non-enclosed version. Now, same thing is going to happen on the enclosed version, but it's a lot easier to clean because it's sitting on the outside. No dust or water or lint can get into this little box. Hence, the reticles or the laser is going to shine all the time. That's the beautiful part about this. Batteries on top, which is pretty cool. The thing I can tell you about this the best is that it is really rugged. I mean, it's been, you know, I've seen lots of reviews for other people. People have taken this out. They've been jamming their slides on it to rack their slide. They're doing all kinds of fun stuff. And it's basically maintaining zero, protecting the glass, and not breaking. It's a big solid body. It is a box. It is pretty heavy duty. So that's, you know, again, Trijicon's claim to fame. You know, they are military grade, and hence you're going to get a military grade optic in a covered platform. It is expensive, okay? That's the one thing about Trijicon. No matter what, they just are expensive. But you kind of get what you pay for, right? That's life. Now, this one will drop into any RMR footprint as well. So the RCR will work into an RMR footprint, which does make it convenient. Luckily, they didn't do that. It has a goofy, well, unusual mounting system. First, I want to go ahead and show you how it looks, and then I'm going to show you. We're going to talk about this co-witness concept with the these suppressor sights. If you look at that, okay, so it is basically just peeking out a little bit, right? I can see the front and rear sight through the glass, which is cool. Boom. Now, not a lot, but it does sit there. And so I don't know if you can get in there close, but I'll see if I can show you what I'm looking at here. There is basically what you're seeing. That's just a tiny little co-witness. And then you can put your dot, this is a dot only, right on top of the front sight. It's, you could potentially go with a taller sight, which this is the XL Ameriglow. You could go with the 3X. The challenge there is how much taller does it get and how does it start to get in the way of the window itself. The 3X are going to sit up probably, you know, another, so you get probably from that 1/8 to about a third co-witness, maybe a little bit more, but not a whole lot more. But, you know, I mean, again, this is acceptable, and the sights are really backup sights. So the concept being is that, you know, you're relying on the dot, and once you get used to the dot, you will be faster. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, I mean, everybody, you know, some people, you know, say, oh, they're purists. Oh, I really like the iron sights. And, you know, yeah, I get it because I grew up on iron sights and I practiced with iron sights, you know, thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And transitioning to the optic, you know, it's like, well, it takes a little bit of work, but is it really better? And at the end of the day, yes, it is faster. I mean, I hate to say it because, you know, I mean, it's technology, you know, so if you are doubting that you'd be a better, faster, more accurate shooter with an optic, erase those doubts. I'm going to tell you because it's proven, not just me. I mean, hundreds of people, competition shooters, all the best competition shooters use a dot for a reason because it does work. Now, like we talked about the installation of this. This is the kind of the goofy thing. They being Trijicon, they give you 6 screws. They give you some tall ones, longer ones. They also give you 4 smaller screws for a direct mount, and that's what we're going to do right here. That's one of the things we like about the 10-day optics program. When you send your slide in, we direct mount the optic to your slide, so it sits a bit lower. Now, if I had a plate on here on the MOS, if it was an MOS, I wouldn't be able to use these standard sights. I'd have to get something taller because that plate's going to make it sit up even a lot higher. So that said, let's go ahead and talk about how you install this. Now, it's kind of interesting because kind of thinking about who actually thought of that idea, because it makes a lot of sense once you do it. But wow, it's a pretty amazing idea. So it's got 2 little slots here on either side, and the small screws and the large screws will fit right in here like that. Okay, and you'll notice if you get in here close, you'll see that the screws have holes in them that allow me to use an Allen wrench to get in there to actually turn it. All right. So that's the concept. So you go ahead and capture the screw in there and do it on the other side. And once it goes in there and sits down, it doesn't really come out by itself, all right, because it kind of sits down a little bit. So then you actually put it on top of your slide, kind of line it up, and you get in there with this Allen, and you find those holes, and you start to turn that screw. So it takes a little bit of, dexterity, a little bit of time, but it's, and once you get it turning, once you get it started, then you go ahead and you turn it, and do the other thing on the other side. I will recommend, of course, that you always use a little bit of Loctite when you're messing with these type of things, because the screws will back out over time, okay? All right, looks like it's down there right now. So I've got the first one done. Now, what's interesting is they give you this little torque tool or torque diagram, because you can't get a torque wrench on there. So you stick this in here like so, you kind of just go like that. And then you get your wrench in here, right? And then you basically line it up, and they want you to be able to bring it up to about there. So you kind of get it started, and you just turn it up about there. All right, and that's it. I could tweak it a little bit more, but I don't really need to for this demo. So it'll tell you that they want you to be about right here, number 4, number 5, number 6, right in that ballpark, and that's where it is right now. So it's tight as it can be. It's not coming off. It's installed, and then you do the other side. But again, you have to use Loctite, and when you apply Loctite, just put a little dab on the threads themselves. Not a lot. You don't have to smother it. It's just a little bit. It'll migrate itself around as you screw it, and then it'll be, sound and lock in there. A lot of people like to use the blue Loctite because it is easier to take off. The problem with blue is that it is also easier to, is more easily affected by heat. So if the gun heats up, you're shooting on a hot day and you shoot a lot of rounds, all of a sudden the slide heats up. Be aware of your screws. Do definitely look at them and check them, because one of the things I noticed is that even though the screw's in there, you really can't tell, to be honest, if it's, what's the word I'm going to say, if it's actually all the way in there. I'm gonna unturn it all the way, and I really, it doesn't look any different. It's kind of like, okay, is it really down there all the way? Because right now it's almost out. But you can't tell. And so it's not like you see the screw sticking up, on the other one. You kind of look down and go, oh yeah, the screw looks like it's loose. This one, because you can't really see it, you can't really tell. So be aware of your screws. I'd say almost every time you shoot this thing, you want to get in there with your Allen and just say, is it actually seated properly? Is it all the way down there? Because when they fly off and they can hit you in the face. And this thing is pretty robust, and it may hurt. So I would say that you should be careful. Okay, I think it's off now. There you go. All right, and use Loctite. Okay, so that's the 2 new optics that we're going to introduce to our 10-day optics program. You can, of course, buy the optic from us or someone else, send your slide into us, and we'll cut it for the RMR footprint. And we'll either do the standard optic cut, which is where the dovetail resides in the back, the combat cut, or no optic or no iron sight whatsoever. A lot of people just blow that out and not even have an iron sight. A lot of the competition shooters, kind of think the iron sight gets in the way. So that's, like I said, a look at the two new optics from Trijicon. You can't go wrong with Trijicon, bottom line. They are expensive, but at the end of the day, you kind of get what you pay for. I'm Lenny McGill. This, of course, is the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop here in Nashville. Now, if you've got a slide you want to cut and do for the 10-day optic program, go online, place your order. You're going to get an email that tells you all the instructions on how to send your slide into us. Once we get it, log it, 10 days starts, and we actually cut it and we send it back within 10 days. So that means you'll get it, depending upon the schedule, you'll get it, maybe in 12 days. It gets out of here in 10 days, 10 business days. Holidays not included. All right. Okay. I'm Lenny McGill. Of course, this is the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop. Love to have you come into the Nashville showroom. If you're visiting Nashville, you should. It's cool. It's a great city. We've got a great showroom. We've got some cool shooting rooms. And we've got every Glock part and piece that you can ever imagine. And hopefully we'll have some of these new optics as well. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.